first 5 photos are incredibly important. Statistically, people drastically fall off after the 5th photo. Thank you for joining us on 3-Piece Thursday. Today's topic is door knocking expired homes. An expired home is a home that has been on the market for a certain amount of days and just hasn't been able to sell. So when I first became an agent, I wanted to find a new way to find leads. And leads are basically people who want to buy or sell their home. And so I knew some of the normal ways of open houses and phone duty, but I went to my broker at the time and I asked him, what can I do that'll differentiate myself between other agents? And he said that I should do door knocking expired listings. At the time, I really didn't have great knowledge of what that even was. So he sat me down and we went over a criteria of what he has done successfully in the past, and I'll give that to you at the end of the video. So once I went on the official MLS database and I look at all the expired homes that would expire at the end of the month, because we're notified when a home is not able to sell within 3 to 6 months or whatever it was contracted for. I went on there and there was a list of about 80 homes. So I took some of the criteria that he talked about and I filtered through them. And I usually picked around 10 homes to door knock on a single day. Just because I would have to map them out through Google, and you really just don't necessarily have enough time to knock on all 80 doors. So I picked out these certain 10 and I used the criteria that he gave me, and then I did my homework on each of these homes. So once I had my list of homes ready, I decided, okay, I'm ready to go door knocking. I was very nervous. I had my 3-piece suit on and I was ready to go. And I said, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? They shut the door, say they're not interested. Or maybe I even get yelled at, but it's nothing personal. And I knew that. So I went ahead and I looked at my Google Maps and I mapped out all 10 homes that I was going to hit that day. So once I had my criteria ready and I had all the homes ready, mapped out on Google Maps, my first home took me to Alamo Ranch. This was a beautiful home that was about in the $300,000 range. And when I pulled up to it, I was a little bit nervous, but I saw the for sale sign and it actually made me feel a little bit better. And I said, okay, I actually want to go there and help this guy. That was my goal, not necessarily to try to be a salesman, because who wants to really deal with a door knocking salesman? I don't really like to. So I said, okay, what can I do to try to act like I'm helping this guy? Because I really did want to help him, but I didn't want to come across as, hey, I can sell your house for you. So I walked up to the door and I could hear the dog barking, sounded like a pretty big dog. But I door knocked and this man walks in and he's a pretty big guy. So I'm 6'2", about 200 pounds, and he was probably 6'3", 240 pounds. So he was a bigger guy, but he answered the door and I found out later that he's actually a drill sergeant with the Army. And so I kind of told him that I saw his sign and I saw that his home has been expired, and did he know that? Because a lot of the homeowners out there aren't even aware that their home has expired on the MLS database. I asked him, well, why do you think the home's not selling? And I was asking him a few questions and he said, let's talk tomorrow. And so my very first experience was a successful one, because the idea when you're door knocking is to either be able to talk to the owner, get them to list with you, or get a listing appointment. So I door knocked for many different weeks and I was able to meet a lot of great homeowners, and I kind of found out that they all had very similar issues to why their home wasn't selling. So this takes us to my broker's criteria of expired listings and why it won't sell. So when I was door knocking, I had this criteria that I knew that I could go after in a certain way, in a polite way, say, okay, well, which homes do I want to pick? So you go to their listing on the websites and you can see the pictures of their home. The first 5 photos are incredibly important. Statistically, people drastically fall off after the 5th photo. But a lot of the expired homes had cell phone cameras or badly lit pictures. They were not professionally done. Number 2 thing that we could talk about was Matterport technology. So Matterport technology was that 3D rendering of your home. It's basically a 3D tour, but you can look from this dollhouse effect 360 degrees around the home. It's just beautiful technology that really impresses buyers when they're looking at your listing. So criteria number 3 was that, are you with a big brand? So when people are trying to sell their home, and I have nothing against the smaller brokerages, but with RE/MAX and Keller Williams and some of the bigger brands have a lot more reach, which means they can expose your home to so many more people. So the next criteria was, how is it priced? So we would do a CMA of the houses around that certain house that we picked, and you would see how much they are above what has sold in the area. Sometimes people were actually very well priced, but a lot of times they were overpriced. And so that is something that I would have to come out and talk to the sellers about. And so when I would door knock and they would tell me their story, we would normally be able to find out what the problem was, especially going through the criteria. So one of the other criteria was, did they have an experienced agent or a full-time or a part-time agent? So I was brand new, so I couldn't necessarily say, oh, well, they're not experienced, right? RE/MAX Integrity that I was with at the time had a lot of experienced agents that were watching over my shoulders to help kind of guide me on what I needed to do. But when we were approaching, part of the fifth criteria was, well, if they're working part-time, they can't really focus in on your listing as much as a full-time agent can be, especially a new one that has a lot of time to devote to your listing, to make sure they do the follow-up calls, to make sure they do the open houses, and that they really push to actively market the home. So those 5 things really helped me kind of have a form of what I could talk to my expired listing owners about. But a lot of the times the homeowners just wanted to be heard. I noticed a reoccurring pattern is that their agent didn't really communicate with them a lot. So when I did door knock and they told me why they think their home didn't sell or what they liked about their home, a lot of them just wanted to be heard. So it was really just trying to develop a relationship and not try to sell them. With COVID-19 happening, I haven't been able to door knock, but I think pretty soon I'm going to try to go out there on expired listings with my mask, of course, safety always first, and just see if people are interested in trying to put their home back on the market and market it the right way. Thank you guys for joining us on 3-Piece Thursday. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are a young channel, so if you could smash the like button, subscribe, and share this with any of your friends and family that are interested in real estate related content, I surely would appreciate it. We'll see you next time.